Let's speak firstly to Fleur Hassan-Nahoum, Israeli Foreign Ministry Special Envoy and former Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem. Fleur, good afternoon to you. Nice to have you with us. Your response, I mean, there's no other way of dressing this up. This is hugely significant, an incredible moment to see this. You know, 6 months ago, we couldn't have imagined we'd be quite here in this this collaborative way that has been carved out. Your response to, firstly, Mr. Trump's speech just an hour or so ago.
Well, I mean, he said some very Churchillian things about peace in the region, about bringing peace to Israel. He has a lot of credit in doing what he did. Nobody would have thought that Hamas would have given up every last living hostage. Nobody could have seen this, because that was the leverage this genocidal terrorist group had. The hostages, because they know that we care about each one of our citizens. So he came here and he gave this incredible speech. And then, I'm not sure you saw the whole speech, but he riffed quite a lot.
Yeah.
He's very entertaining. He's very funny. But ultimately, what he has shown is that he's a true friend of Israel. He's a true friend of civilization and the free world. He understands that the enemy of the free world is the same enemy that Israel has, which is Islamic fundamentalism, which is the forces of evil and destruction. And he has managed to bring forth the Sunni moderate Arab countries, the countries that actually understand that they want peace and prosperity and not death, cult, and destruction. He's managed to bring them in. He did this 5 years ago with the Abraham Accords, and now he's extending that circle of countries in the region that want peace and prosperity, and basically said to them, look, you can choose the path of destruction, of supporting Hamas, of supporting jihadi terrorism, or you could choose prosperity with the United States as an important ally. To me, this is exactly what he said to Qatar and exactly what he said to Turkey, because these two countries are playing both games. They are basically the countries that are for the Muslim Brotherhood at the moment. And I really think that, quite brilliantly, Trump has given them this choice. Which path do you want to take? And that's why we got to this moment.
But of course, Fleur, and this won't be lost on you or anybody else, really, we have to. There's a little bit of keeping our fingers crossed. We've been in many positions over the last 20, 30 years and beyond where, it's looking as if there might be some kind of deal, whatever solution people prefer. It could well be that we're ahead, oh no, and then it's gone again. There are some obvious figures lurking in the wings that could probably, if the truth be known, right now would willingly tear down this deal, and there'll be people within Hamas that would feel that way. At the moment, they are endorsing everything. We have Iran, of course, which will forever be that backdrop to all matters nefarious in the Middle East, I guess. What is your hope for that? And is hope the only thing we can cling on to here?
That's a great question. I moved to Israel 24 years ago when I thought we were on the cusp of peace with Arafat, and look how that turned out. Israel has offered the Palestinians a state 5 times, and they've been much more invested in the destruction of the state of Israel than they've ever been invested in building anything for themselves, and that really is the crux of the conflict. But what Trump is doing or saying is actually very smart. What he's saying to them is, look, Israel's a fact. You're not going to get rid of Israel. We're behind Israel. We're not going to let you get rid of Israel. So then you only have one pathway forward. And that is some type of reconciliation, normalization with the state of Israel, because that's how you're going to get America. That's a huge shift. I'm not sure there's been any president who's been so resolute and so deliberate about going to the Arab world and saying, pick your side. This is the side of the United States. Now, am I being overly optimistic? Maybe, because we got our hostages back and I want to believe in hope. I've got 4 children in this country. I've got children in the army in this country. Every single mother in this country wants peace. Nobody wants our children to trot off to war and risk their lives. And, and the price that we've been willing to pay for peace has been astronomical. Ian, 200 terrorists with blood on their hands have been released today, murdered hundreds of people. Do you know how the families of the victims feel today? This is a mixed day of emotions. Yes, we're so happy to have our hostages home. B, we don't have all the hostages, but the dead ones still haven't been brought home for a dignified funeral. But also, we've had to release 200 murderers with blood on their hands. This is the price that Israel has always been willing to pay for peace. And yes, I am cautiously optimistic, but I think the thing about Trump is he doesn't fool around. and he speaks their language, not literally, but he speaks the language of peace through strength, not peace through appeasement and capitulation, which has been the last decades of diplomacy around the world with the Arab world. He says no, he puts a gun on the table and he said, you take it or leave it. But this is what I have to offer you. Maybe this will make the difference. I pray.
It's interesting. I mentioned detractors, those who won't be so enamoured with this, Fleur. You don't have to look in some dark alleyway in the middle of Gaza to find a group that have a very different view. You just have to look to London in the UK to see 500,000 people protesting. They call them pro-Palestinian protests. They're not. They're anti-Jew. They're anti-Israel.
Yes.
They always have been.
Yes.
And they were out this weekend. What does it take for these people to shut up?
Well, the destruction of Israel. You see, that's what these people want. They say they want to free Palestine. What does free Palestine mean to them when they say from the river to the sea? That is a chant for the destruction of the state of Israel, whether they know it or don't. Where are we supposed to go? This is our ancestral homeland. We were willing, always to share it. But they were not willing. They didn't want to compromise. And ultimately, this is what we've seen unleashed. But Ian, as you well know, this is not just a threat to Israel. These people are also saying death to Britain, death to America, death to the West, death to the free world. These are extremist jihadis and the useful idiots who are going along thinking that somehow they want a new communist world order where their lives are going to be better. They have no idea what they're talking about. But what's very interesting about Trump's speech, I think, that he also gave a message to Iran. To Iran, look, you want to talk? We're still willing to talk. But you have to stop sponsoring terror, and you have to, go on the side of peace and prosperity. You can't continue to build a nuclear weapon and say death to America. So Trump is willing to make peace with everybody that are willing to make peace with America, Israel, and the free world. There is a choice here. These countries have always had a choice, and Trump is making it crystal clear.
Yeah. And just a final point, we'll have to be brief, Fleur. There is some concern over hostages that didn't survive and have still not been returned. We know that all living Israeli hostages have now been handed over, but there are 28 others believed to be dead. Not all of those bodies have been returned. Some of the families are saying that is a breach of this agreement already.
It is. It's a breach of the agreement because the agreement was that Israel will retreat if the 48 hostages, 20 alive and 28 dead, are returned for a dignified funeral. Now, they themselves have said, look, we don't know whether we can locate all of them, but they have located, from what I understand, at least half of them, and those families deserve their bodies back. And the rest of them, we pray that they do locate those bodies, because those families need closure. And let me tell you, today is a happy day. Today is a joyous day. It's going to be a very, very sad, depressing day when those coffins start coming back.
Absolutely. Fleur, lovely to have you on with us. Great to speak. Thank you, Fleur Hassan-Nahoum, Israeli Foreign Ministry Special Envoy, also former Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem.